Want your drums to hit harder, vocals to cut through the mix, and overall your entire mix like literally command attention? Then I'm going to teach you a shortcut in today's video where your mix is going to sound very present and bold, and that's through parallel compression. But before that, if you are new here, I'm Florina Jain, otherwise known as Flow of Music, and I will be teaching you about parallel compression today. But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Let's get into it. Let's first understand what is meant by parallel compression. Now, in general terms, compression means you're going to talk about the dynamics of the track. You're going to deal with that. Anything that is too loud is going to go down. Anything that is too soft is going to go up in volume. And that's going to happen all throughout a track. But a parallel compression means you have one track that is uncompressed or maybe a very gentle compression, while another duplicate of that same track is heavily processed, heavily compressed, and you blend it in a way where together it just sits with the right energy that you need for the song. That's what parallel compression is. And we can achieve it through two different steps. One, either through aux tracks, or you can just duplicate a track and work with it. Now, the best example to talk about parallel compression is drums. And here we have a drum kit. Now I need more and more energy on these drums. It's lacking a lot of energy. And if you see, I've not even added any plugin right now, but we're just going to apply parallel compression, and you're going to see how much of an effect it's going to give on a separate, just an empty drum kit. So let's try it by duplicating first. So just press Option. While pressing Option, just click and drag this down so that it just creates a duplicate copy. Let's first work on this. So let's rename this as drums for parallel compression and apply any compressor that you want. Let's talk about like the stock compressor so that a lot of people can understand this tutorial. Now in this, normally we've talked about compressor doing gentle compression, very little ratio, very little threshold so that it doesn't go beyond -5. But now we're going to take things extremely aggressive. So I'm going to crank the ratio up very high. So I'm heavily compressing right now. And I'm going to add some makeup. Okay. The sound before and after. This is without the compressor. With. Without, with. So the kick just is squashed down, snare is just gone. It's very heavily compressed, right? It's just like you've put a ceiling and like all your tracks are just there. Like there's no breathing space for the drums. And actually, like, correlation to all the other videos that I've done, this is what we want right now. We want it to be squashed. We want it to sound compressed. And if you want, you can add a little bit of distortion too. So distortion just gives you it's just saturation. So imagine a picture, but you increase the saturation. Now everything becomes more brighter in whatever color it is, right? That's the same concept here. So I'm going to put some more tone to it by using the saturation. So it becomes really, like heavily compressed and saturated. Maybe overall volume can go down a bit. Makeup can go a little higher. Yes, so this is without the compressor. With. Of course, it's heavily compressed and there's no breathing space. But I already have a drum that's like uncompressed, right? So now what we're going to do is bring this completely down. And as I play, I'm going to increase it to taste. And until I feel like there's a difference, I'll keep increasing. Okay, I'm going to push this a little more. Yes, so. Okay, just listen to that sound. This is without the parallel compression. Now. Without. With. It just sounds like, there's more energy on the drum kit now. It just sounds more stronger. And you can just work your way through this parallel compression part. You can like make it however you want it to sound. So now it's like really squashed up. Let's bring in that tone. And then, yeah, so now it's even more stronger. So I'm trying to get like different tones through distortion or heavier compression through this ratio and the threshold, so that when you gel it together, this is without PC, which is parallel compression, with. And it just has a lot more strength to it. This is one of my favorite tricks to use in order to make a drum kit sound more like, fuller, and it has to actually command attention. And that's what parallel compression gives me. Basically, you don't need to really duplicate a track to do this. Instead, you can just use a send, use one of the aux track, and then let's just copy this to the bus track. So now it's inside this. So you can send another copy of the signal. So the concept is same. So you have like one signal from the track that directly goes to the stereo out uncompressed, whereas another duplicate version of the signal, the only cool part is you can adjust it here instead of, the volume fader that we did earlier. Now you can adjust it here. So you can increase and send it through the compressor part. And basically the working is same now. Without, with. I mean, it's very obvious, right? It does need a little bit of EQ to fix some of the low, mid and the lows. But with regards to the energy and the strength, this is giving us that exact feel a rock song needs or an EDM song needs. Now let's talk about some advanced techniques by which you can use parallel compression in your mixes. My common methods of using parallel compression apart from drums is actually on vocals, and extend this beyond a compressor even. Heavily process a vocal in terms of reverb, in terms of saturation, all that's happening on a duplicate version, and then blend it with the original version. When you do that on a parallel compression, example when you use compressors like RVox from Waves and you really squash one side of the vocals but then blend it in the right way with the actual vocal track, you'll actually be surprised by how much clarity and how much boldness that actual vocal track has. So that's my favorite trick number one. Now the second point is something I already touched upon a little earlier. So shaping it after that with an EQ. So parallel compression is just going to compress the dynamics of the signal in a very harsh way. But after that you might have a very weird low end rumble. So you have to shape it with an EQ. You cannot just rely on a parallel compressor. Either before that or after that, you need to apply an EQ and just shape it a little bit so that it sounds right. The tone doesn't shift in a drastic way. It sounds right with the original signal. Third part, now that you know this trick, it doesn't mean that you overprocess all drums, all vocals, all bass guitars, like give the overprocessed sound the way you blend it, like don't push it a lot. So even in this, let's say like I liked how it sounded, but then I push it too much. Already you see it's 0.2 dB, which is like way loud, right? So it is going to push your volume high. And just because it's loud doesn't mean it's sounding good. That's another point to remember. So we are talking about attention commanding or like being bold. That part, we're not commanding volume here. Yes, it will increase volume, but don't comprehend more volume to be more good in quality. Increase it to taste and see whether it brings out that boldness of the track or that clarity in the track. After that, if you think the overall volume went loud, then like literally choose both the original track and the overcompressed track and bring both down so that you don't change the balance. You just bring down the volume a bit so that it's not peaking in your master. So don't really push the volume of the overprocessed signal in your mix a lot. You need to blend it in the right way. So that is the end of this video. If you have learned something new, don't forget to comment and share this with your music producer friends. This is Florina Jane and I'll see you guys in another video.